I am AnokhiTheOne online. I'm a music artist, and also I owned the Ancestral X Alignment page. So very big on genealogy, big on family history, um, and American history. So, but also I wanted to talk about music as well. But I've been following you for a while, seeing some of your videos about syncretism and religion and astrology and different things like that. So I definitely want to dig into a good bit of things.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Cool. So, can you give us a little bit more background on you, where you've come from, and kind of what inspired you to gain all this knowledge?
um, so you may not know, but a week ago my mother passed away. So
Mm,
um, yeah,
sorry for your loss.
sorry.
Sorry about that. I know that's really tough to deal with.
Yeah, no, it wasn't tough at all. It
Really?
was oh, it was beautiful. She had a smile on her face,
Mm,
and she was in two worlds. Her ancestors were receiving her on the one in one world, and in the hospital bed room there were 20 in Australia. I'm here in Mexico. But my niece Sonia, Bruna, my sister, Peter, my brother, David, my brother, Mel, there was 25 people in the room, and they're all witnessing this phenomena
wow.
of an 84-year-old woman who gave birth to six children on a deathbed, transitioning to the other world with a smile on the face, no pain, no
Mm,
guilt, no shame. And I said,
wow.
yeah, and I was talking to her on the phone from Mexico, and she lit up when she heard my voice, and so I deliberately told her, "See, I told you, Mum, years ago, you didn't need to take those anxiety medications for 30 years, which gave you dementia." In the end,
Mm.
I didn't say that, but I said to her, "Remember many years ago, Mum, I used to tell you that uh, there is no death, and you're so stubborn that you're only going to know that when you're on your deathbed, and you will
Wow.
see that you cannot die." And she smiled and she opened her left eye, which um, I was told she had her eyes shut for 3 days
Wow.
on the deathbed, but in bliss. She passed like, and her skin was pink.
Mm,
Um, I've seen my grandfather pass and my father, and my grandfather, my mother's father, he was sort of greyish, but he also went. He was a very stoic man, so he would, even if he was in bliss, he wouldn't be going like this, you know. Whereas my mother,
yeah.
she loves showing that she's in bliss. You know, she used to love flowers and music, and so she showed it to me. You know, she smiled and she went, took her last breath. It's beautiful.
Wow. That's a beautiful perspective
Yeah,
to
she died
have.
conscious. That's how you have to transit. You don't want to be like the people who die in their sleep.
Mm,
That's you're going to keep coming back. You have to
really?
transition, yeah, consciously.
I
Mhm.
did not know that.
We don't know a lot. There's so much we don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we could know consciously right now that would improve our lives immensely if we could download it from the ether.
Mm,
And and that's what's going to happen. You watch. This year will be that year where everyone just gets it.
mm. And that's the
Because
feeling I've been having. That's definitely something that I wanted to talk about because I have been following you for probably like 7 or 8 years now. Some of the content that you've talked about, and you've talked about like the religions, the elite, and these big families and things like that. And it really seems like this is the year that a lot of that stuff is really going to get exposed to a mass degree. So, what's your thoughts on that?
This year, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
This is the year. We don't need any other year. 20, 2 2 6 is 10 is 1. This is
Mm.
this is the singularity. In in one sense, there won't be 2027,
Mm.
2028, 2020. In a sense, it may happen. You know, we may go through those years of change, but it's not linear. Time is not linear.
Mm.
It's cyclical. That's what calendar means. Cylinder.
Yeah.
It's a cylinder. It's a loop. The
Mhm.
matrix. We ain't going that way. So that's why Copernicus invented the moving globe. Before Copernicus, every culture knew that the Earth didn't move.
Yeah.
It was stationary. That's why it's called terra firma. That
Mm.
means stationary Earth.
Interesting. So, you feel like the time is moving cyclically, but the plane is staying in one place.
Yeah, the planet doesn't move. We are living on the plane of inertia of a torus field.
Mm.
Every torus field has a plane of inertia. In your body, it runs through your heart.
Interesting.
Heart and earth are the same word.
I never thought about that. That is true.
Yeah,
That's
and theatre.
crazy.
And theatre. This is all theatre.
Mm. So,
And
like
that
the Truman Show, that is real.
that is real, yeah. And what they're teaching you is that this is not real, and that's true. You know, once you get that, once you
So,
understand.
as far as, because I know you've talked a lot about religion, and I think there's been a huge shift because I feel like a lot of people aren't buying into religion nearly as much as they used to. Um, but where do you see religion moving towards? Because I feel like people are already moving away from that already.
Yeah. What'll happen is, according to the geopolitical textbook history, there'll be a war between the Abrahamic branches, Islam, Christians, killing each other, and Jews. And this bloodshed, they know it has to stop because who's doing that? Well, it's a cabal, a satanic cabal of vampires. They're literally vampires, and they get the commands from the insectoid reptilian transdimensional beings that are
Hmm.
sucking humanity's energy.
Interesting.
Yeah, but not ours, not yours, not mine.
Yeah. Do you think that is what's going on in the Middle East right now? Or and that's been going on in the Middle East for the past 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years?
Yeah, yeah, all this Israel and the Palestinians and that's all. It's all a load of. It's all distraction. The Arabs and the Jews lived there since forever, since
Hmm.
Roman times.
Yeah.
There were Jews in Palestine. That's what the Greeks called it.
Hmm.
In Josephus's time, you know.
Yeah. So as far as American history and the creation of race, that's something I definitely want to get your thoughts on. I mean, from my perspective, I feel like it's an invention of this reptilian blood-sucking situation, but I guess I kind of wanted to get your input on that. Like, where do you think it came from? What do you think the purpose of races have been for humanity?
Control.
Mm.
Yeah. So getting back to race, where were you born?
Houston, Texas.
Okay. Did you know that all from all the Mississippi and the Delta and all the South was the indigenous? Why? Okay, I should be turning it that way. Okay, that's better. Freaking hell. Oh, gotta have my cap right. Mm. So that was all what we call African American. No,
I've been doing that research.
that's it. They are the indigenous people. That blues music from the Mississippi, that's the Nile. Egypt, Cairo is right there, starting from Illinois, going down to Memphis, St. Louis, um, Baton Rouge. Is it Baton Rouge before New Orleans?
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so I always think of those four cities because I'm into blues, like
Yeah.
big time, Delta blues, right? So
Hmm.
now we're beginning to understand that the African Americans, yeah, some were brought over as slaves, so were white people. But who are the Olmecs? Why do the Mexicos have statues of
Hmm.
the Olmec culture and they were African American? No, all the way
Yeah.
from Brazil to Alaska, the black people have been. They weren't imported from anywhere, from Africa, and you can tell. Americans don't look like black Americans don't look anything like African Americans.
Mm.
They don't look alike. You look at a
That's it.
Somali or a Sudanese or a Nigerian. Can you see that anywhere in the US of A? Not really. I don't
Mm. That's true. So with that, because that has been a big revelation that a lot of people are slowly catching on, but there has been a lot of pushback still to this day.
know.
What do you think that's about?
um, So the Satanic Cabal doesn't want us to know the true heritage of our Tartarian um, free energy and the wealth that we own. You can trace the wealth that you and I have through your birth certificate. It's been
Mm.
it's been token again. It's been tokenized and put into a trust called the Sestwi KV Trust. And if you go to a website called fidelity.com. Wait a minute, fiduciary or fidelity? Let's have a look. Fidelity. Yeah, yeah, fidelity.com. You can put your birth certificate numbers in there without the dashes,
Mm.
and you can see all your stocks. You will find that you are a billionaire.
Wow.
Yeah, and this goes back to the Tartaria, which had to be destroyed somewhere around. I think the French Revolution really kicked it off, but the Jesuits hatched this in the Council of Trent in 1542. They hatched up the idea of counter Reformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the Council of Trent, the Jesuits were formed 2 years prior in 1539. Then I think it was 1539, yeah. And in 1541, Copernicus gives us the moving Earth. Now the Earth moves theory.
Mm.
Before, it was always just like it is, dead still. Yep. Last time I
Yeah.
checked, it hasn't moved an inch. It never will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stationary. So then, so in 39, the Jesuits were formed. Then they got their New World Order globalist model. See, who are the
Mm.
enemies of humanity? The globalists, and they don't have a globe.
Mm.
It's a cartoon.
Wow.
Whereas, so, and then they convened conveniently, the Council of Trent in 1545, and it lasted 18 years. Of all the 22 councils since uh, 325 CE, the Council of Nicaea, up until modern day, in the last century there's been two councils. In 62, the Council of the Vatican, and then the Vatican II in 65. But if you look up Catholic Vatican councils, there's only been 22 of them. 500 years ago, when they started moving the earth, and so we started being enslaved, these Jesuits with their new model. Where was it going? Sorry.
We were talking about the origin of race in America, and I was thinking about as you were talking, I feel like there's just a bias, especially coming from the United States, even when learning this information, where in my mind, I'm categorizing people that may not fit into these categories. For example, when I hear the word Jesuit, I think of white people. I hear Tartarian, I think of white. I hear Moor, I think of black. I think globalist elite, I think of white. But the deeper I go into the history of all these things, there's really, you can correct me, I don't even think there's really a specific color for all these different people. And I feel like that's a way that, and yes, for example, more meant black in a particular area. But a lot of these other labels, we don't know what these people really look like. But it is a way to cloak their identity if we're categorizing people and we have no idea what they actually look like.
Yeah, look, the truth annoys people when you tell them that African Americans were always there. You know, that you can if you do your history, you'll know that there were 7 black presidents before Washington,
Yeah.
right? So,
I saw a video of you talking about how, like, for example, New York, maybe even Chicago, Detroit, New Orleans, a lot of these cities were already established, thriving black communities before people even came over here. Is
mhm,
that true?
yeah, so the Europeans in the year 1776 finally got control. I think. See, they were trading friendly with Europe for hundreds and hundreds of years, forever.
Mm.
Yes, there were wars and everything, but there was never a corporate takeover. What happened was the Vatican plotted to take over the US, and they had to um, enslave the indigenous pop- population in order
Mm.
to establish an up-down democracy. See, people are thinking they gave us democracy on the left, and um, sorry, Democrats on the left and Republicans on the right.
Mm.
So that people are thinking it's a left-right thing, and they're looking the wrong way. It's up-down. So the up-downs, the royals from Europe, they did a corporate takeover, and then what happened was, I forget the exact details in that year what happened, but black people were now considered to be people of colour
Mm.
and persons. That's why they put them in the trust.
I think Reconstruction, right? Are you talking about after the Civil War?
It happens all the time. There's been so many resets. I could go back to, see, I'm going back to 1542. We don't
Mm.
have to. We can go back to the French Revolution, or we can go back to 1812,
Mm.
right? At the Convention of Vienna, when the Rothschilds convened in Vienna to start their first New World Order. But the Romanovs from Russia, they didn't want anything to do with it. That's why 100 years later, see, 1812, in 1917, the Bolsheviks, communists, destroyed the Romanovs, chopped
Mm.
their heads off, bang, destroyed all of the evidence of Russian Tartaria free energy, and then they
Mm.
bombed Dresden and Hamburg and Germany's Tartarian heritage, stole their wealth. Now Germans are paying for their energy.
Mm.
Now,
So those were the Nazis, or
uh,
how did that go into play?
Nazi, Zionists, whatever, it's all up down, and the up is a satanic vampire cannibal cabal.
So when you say up, down, because I'm trying to think in the terms of the people listening who probably only got a high school education or college history education from America, they would assume up, down is white, black. But
No,
you're saying up, down is what specifically?
is these so-called royal wealthy elites. That's it. Against the slaves, you and me. It doesn't matter what color you got. You know,
Mm.
black people keep complaining about we were slaves. Everybody's been a freaking slave. I
And that's
sure, sure they got their asses whipped as well here in America, and vice versa. But it depends on which reset period. There were times when the whites were getting their asses whipped, and the
in
Indians.
America, in the United States.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many historical um, resets that. Yeah. First World War, you can go back to that and just tell a story. The Second World War, just 80 years ago, you can go back to that and you can tell a whole story.
Mm.
Let alone 1812, let alone 1776, let alone 1542.
Mm.
These vampires, they just keep changing the historical freaking. Uh, they know that time is not linear. It's just doing this, right? So what they
Mm.
do is what they do is they insert what they call a timeline in here, and then in here, and they keep doing this from other
Mm.
from below, and probably from above, but I don't think so. But from below, they keep feeding us these timelines and resetting us and reprogramming us, and we have things like the orphan trains and the migrations and oh, wow. Why do we need all that stuff anyway? Wasn't it? It's a bit of wasted energy killing slaves and making them work and whipping them to death. Who gets
Mm.
who gets a kick out of that? I'd rather sit back at home and relax, play my guitar, and who wants to kill someone? I don't want to kill anybody. It's the
That's
last
true.
last thing you want to do is go and kill someone. Like freaking are you bored? Are you evil? Are you stupid? Um,
Mm.
there's so much beauty within. The kingdom of God is within.
Mm.
And yet they're trying to build empires and riches and stealing and wealth so they can show off and Ferraris and mansions and Lamborghinis and girls and men and orgies and freaking people trafficking and all kinds of entanglement. The more things, the more they get entangled, you know. And
Mm.
basically, they're entangling themselves to the point where they're so knotted up that you can't unknot yourself.
Mm.
And they've gone past the point of no return. When the knot is that tight, there's no one that can undo the knot. You have to chop it.
Mm.
When it gets to that point, you got to chop that rope and forget about it. Start again.
So with this year, because we talked about how this year is like the end of a lot of that, and we're going to be jumping into, I guess, a different world or timeline. What are the cosmic spiritual things that have aligned for that to be happening in this year in particular?
Well, Saturn is going to enter Aquarius on Friday the 13th next week.
Wow.
And that is going to bring wow. Exactly. War. Wow, war. Both wow
Mm.
and war. So it will bring, as always, good and evil, but it's a reset. Kronos, Saturn, in Aries, the first sign, that
Mm.
only happens every 29 years. That's a Saturn return. And Saturn marks time, so called time. So it will be a reset. The day before Valentine's Day will be felt throughout, will ripple forever. 13th of February, Friday the 13th,
Wow.
next week.
So when you say war, do you mean in the spiritual realm or do you mean in America? Like, where do you see this war happening or popping off?
As within, so without. Inside, outside,
Mm.
every dimension. These battles must be fought. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like the storm and then the calm.
Mm.
They talk about the calm before the storm. It's so calm. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden comes the storm. Well, you have to, what do they say? Batten down the hatches and drive forward and bear, what is it? Not bear the storm, weather the storm.
Mm.
If you weather the storm, and storm has story in it, storm and story. So
Mm.
Taurus fields create storms. So if you weather the storm, then there will be the calm. And everyone is seeking the calm.
Mm.
Everyone wants to relax at home. They don't want to be stressed at home. Having to cook with screaming kids and nothing in the fridge and health insurance bills overdue and the car is in the mechanics. I've got to use Uber and I don't even have the money. My credit card's maxed out. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's all of that can end overnight. All end overnight because we can teach people. There's hundreds of people now that can teach people how to make machines to harvest free energy. If we play the game of the up downs, the elites against us, the slaves, if we keep feeding them, but paying them taxes and giving them going to fight wars, sending our sons to fight wars for them, we'll just keep feeding these vampires. We've got to say no. We just have to stop and say no contract.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, we're the mass majority, but what do you think it's really going to take? And I wanted to get your thoughts on the music industry and the power of music because I feel like musicians and music is a very powerful medium. Same with like entertainment. So, what role do you feel like artists have to shift the culture?
Say that again. Sorry. What role do artists?
What role do you feel like artists have in shifting us into this next space to where we're not just following the elite, we're not following this up down. I feel like artists have always kind of been in the in between, and a lot of them are getting taken down with Epstein stuff. So, what role do you feel like artists have in ushering this new world?
Major, 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 major. Look at
Mm,
look at them all, right? Um, Musicians have always told of the sufferings of mankind, have influenced the minds of many. Even though some of the musicians were sellouts, like Bob Dylan, for instance, right? He had many, many lyrics against the war machine, against Maggie's farm. I don't want to work on Maggie's farm no more. Yeah. In other
mm,
words, I want to get off the farm, man. I want to get off the plantation. Bye bye. I'm free. Right.
mm,
So we see that a lot of them were speaking truth, and then who knows? You know, the, their voices were taken from them. Michael Jackson, Prince, the list goes on. Um, James Dean, Rudolph Valentino, Marilyn Monroe, um, and it goes on even up to Chester Bennington and Whitney Houston. So many people who are like you and I. We just want to be part of the real world, but the vampires want more.
Mm,
If you sign a contract with them, you will be asked for more.
mm. Do you think after this shift, for example, this year, life will be better in the potential for people who want to be outside of this weird world they've created as artists? Do you think it's going to be a lot better and that will have more power to be more influential?
Yeah, shift happens.
Mm, that's huge.
Pardon the pun. Shift happens.
Are you familiar with Leonard Horowitz? His
Yeah,
works?
rest in
528.
peace.
So can you kind of give people more context of that? I know a lot of people have been getting more into the frequencies like 528 hertz. And some people are saying, oh, that's not real, this is real, whatever. But what are your thoughts about like different frequencies and kind of some of the stuff that Leonard Horowitz talks about?
Uh, 430, 528 is just green energy, period. It's the
Yeah.
colored rain. So it's going to be beautiful. And 432 is blue.
Mm,
So it's green and blue. Red, I forget the frequency of red, but it's RGB. Those are the four important frequencies, right? So 528 is in the heart chakra, Leonard Horowitz. 432, Pythagoras, thank you very much. That's blue chakra,
mm,
right? And then the red hertz. God damn, I forget what it was. It's not 666. It might be. I forget, but there's a red one, right? So it's all colors.
mm.
Frequency is color. It's a color universe.
Yeah.
And verse means what it means.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
know he wrote a book that broke down how I think it's like Nazi scientists took over the frequencies and changed it to, I don't remember exactly what frequency, like 444 or something like that. And they were doing testing to test different frequencies and to see how people react. And they left the modern tuning in a tuning that is like disruptive to the human psyche or something like that. Do you know anything about that?
yeah, 440.
Mm,
So so they changed the 432 Pythagorean to 440. It's just a little bit, it's just a few cents up. It's just yeah, six. I shouldn't say cents. That's in guitar fretboard talk. So it's only what 432 to 440, 8 hertz frequency difference. But in that 440, if you make a universal A resonate at 440, then what happens is the harmonics of that must connect in all
I think you paused.
when you go to 432. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you froze for a second.
Yeah, okay. So the 440 hertz, there are gaps missing in the harmonics. There's a thing called harmonics in music, not harmony, right? Harmony is la la la, right? Harmonics is like a um, mm, well, it's a note that, like for instance, when you ring a bell, right, you hear one tonal dong. But if you go to the cathedral, you go listen to that bell, you'll hear all the frequencies going all the way up.
Mhm.
So you'll hear. Mm, mm, oh. You'll hear them all in there. That's harmonics, right? So with 432, you have it's all connected. All the harmonics, they're all connected. It's like a brain um, synapses and dendrite connections. The dendrites, they're all connecting in 432. It stimulates the brain, the nervous system, it's healing, it's healthy. 440 deliberately is damaging and aggressive.
Mhm. So I wanted to ask you, because a lot of what I talk about and post is about ancestral alignment and doing your genealogy, knowing your lineage, your bloodline. So how important do you feel like that is for someone to know? Like, do you feel like there's any, like, do you feel like you have gifts that are passed down and different things that is good to be aware of?
Absolutely. That's that's why most people don't know, uh,
Mm,
because they'll never get their full power by not knowing, um, where they come from. There are humans and there are vampires,
mm,
and they walk amongst us. Humans are divine, vampires are demonic,
mm.
and yes, they walk amongst us, and yes,
So
they're all ugly.
when it comes to genealogy, because for whatever reason, like sometimes it's hard to articulate how important that is until you've like done the genealogy research and you're able to track different things. So for example, what are some of the key things that you feel like you've been able to take away from just knowing what you know? Because I saw a video of you breaking down like the exact place in Italy that you're from, that your family's from, and how like it ties into ancient history and different things like that. So what, and also if you're speaking to, for example, Black Americans too, because that's a huge thing. Because you can go from one extreme to be like, okay, we're all from Africa, and then to the other extreme, okay, we're all from America, but understanding the depth of knowing specifically your lineage.
Yeah, well, that's going to be part of the remembering. That's going to be part of everything. Your inheritance will be restored. Your memory, it'll be like that. Once the grip of the reptoids and the insectoids is off of humanity, which is coming real soon, real soon,
Mm,
then you won't even have to ask that question. You'll know that you are inconceivably one with God with difference.
mm. So I have been doing research on turpentine. I saw you posting about turpentine recently. How did you learn about turpentine, and what do you think your thoughts on that as a medicine?
Yeah, yeah, great. Antiparasitic, anti-inflammatory. But you need to take a few drops. Like for instance, I'll just show you mine. Yeah, so this is Trementina here in Mexico. So I mean, you want to take you can drink this all day long.
Really?
Yeah, I just took a swig.
Oh
But
my God.
yeah, but drops you can put on your skin. Um, in fact, this was in the medicine cabinet before the Rockefellers, before their snake oil business.
Mm,
Turpentine. That's it. Just turpentine.
for just about everything.
Everything. Turpentine, no parasites, anti-inflammatory, healing. It's pine. Turpentine, pine. It's pine. Pine,
Mm,
the pineal gland. No, this is your mother's milk, the pine tree.
wow. That's crazy. I just started doing turpentine, and I'll be honest, I was terrified because of everything they talk about when it comes to turpentine, like the poison.
Well,
And
hang on. Let's wait a minute. Pure gum pine turpentine, not mineral turpentine, which you get at the
mm,
hardware store. That will kill you. That's
yeah,
mineral. That's mineral turpentine. That's different. It's like they use that for like what do they call it? Polishing. What's methylated
like
spirit?
paint thinner or something.
No, the polishing thing. What do they call it? Polishing methylated spirits. Methylated spirits. So
Mm.
yeah, that's it's going to kill you. So
I think you paused for a second. You're still paused.
and are we back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Yeah, it's my internet.
So pure, 100% pure gum spirits, not the paint thinner.
Yeah, yeah, it's got to be from the pine tree.
So what do you recommend? Because I know from all the research I did, they say 1 teaspoon would be probably the max. But I know back in the day, I'm pretty sure they took a lot more than 1 teaspoon. But I feel like people, just to be politically correct, people are saying 1 teaspoon for every 24 hours. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you'd be the judge for yourself. Um, Start with a couple of drops a day in water or with something else. If you can't stand the taste, I love the taste. I think it's just like I don't know. And you can tell it's cleaning your mouth out.
Mm.
It's going straight through the blood. You feel good. I feel really good. Just now I'm feeling really good just by drinking a bit because it goes to the pineal gland. Anything pine, pine pollen, uh, pine resin. I put pine resin on my skin. Oh, I can't show that. Oh, there you go. I harvested this myself, and Tracy, my good friend, made this. So that's from the mountains here, just around me.
Nice.
You
That's
put
kind of
that.
like a wax.
You put that on your skin, and you get sexy real quick and real good.
Why do you think pine is so powerful? I've heard a lot about pine. What is it about pine that's so powerful?
Um, Gee, that's really what's the word? Viscose, unusually viscose. Whereas this one here, this one here is way more. See, like that's how it should be.
Thicker?
Yeah. So if I put a whole bunch of it on, yeah, I mean it's gonna look silly, but what the heck? I mean, you won't need, uh, like plastic surgery or Botox or a facelift or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah, just stick with pine and urine, urea. Use
Hmm.
your own urine to heal yourself. So you can use aged urine or fresh urine and just put on your face every day.
Urine. What do you mean urine?
Well, that's the same stuff that is in 99.999% of all cosmetics, urea, but they get it
Mm.
from bulls. They get bull's
Urine.
piss. Yeah, women wearing it every day, bull's piss. Cow piss every day, every day. Every day. Why? Why? Just ugh. Use your own urine. Use your
So
own
human urine they're putting in the makeup and all this other stuff to for
no
your hair.
cow, bovine, urea,
So they're
cow
using
piss,
cow
cow
urine.
piss. is what not is in 99.9999999% of all cosmetics. It's in there. It's
Wow.
urine. It's right there. You see how
That's
much we
crazy.
don't know? Your own piss, you can wash in it and it will make you glow. The Aborigines in Australia, I come from Australia, right? The Aborigines, the women,
Mm.
right? It's a matriarchy. The women, when they would go to their holy rocks, they would urinate in their hands and they would put urine all over the rocks to keep them holy.
Mm.
Every year they go there and they would urinate and put the urine on the rocks to preserve them.
So what's the significance of that? Why what's the power of that? I've never heard that.
Urea is energy. It's what's the word? What am I looking for? Negative charged, negative charged energy.
Mm.
You tried drinking your urine in the afternoon. Don't do your morning stuff because it's a bit. But in the afternoon, as it gets wider and wider, right, and you drink more, drink some juices, then you try drink. Don't drink. Don't ever drink the first drops or the last drops. Like the snake is poisoned at the head and at the
Mm.
tail. You drink the middle bits. So you get a cup, you start urinating, you scoop up a mouthful, and you drink it. And it will, if you sit that under your tongue, you can go for a run and you'll run 20 miles without having
What?
having a huff or a puff. Yeah, how do you think the marathon runners, the those African marathon runners keep winning the Olympics every year? Who are they? The Nigerians or whoever? Yeah?
I'm not sure.
They put a little bit of urine under their tongue and do not swallow it. And run your marathon, and you'll have energy just out of urine under your tongue. It's negative charge energy. It's
So is
coiled.
that like grounding? Because I know negative charge is like a grounding wire with a battery. Is that what it's doing?
Yeah, it's coiled energy. It's not released energy. So you keep
Mm.
it there. You just keep it there, and it's coiled. It's infinite.
Wow.
Yeah, and you suck on it. It's like when you're sucking on your mother's tits for milk. It's the same thing. Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one. So what are your thoughts on transmutation of sex energy? I know you've talked about that a good bit.
Yeah, it's very, very vital. Very, very vital. Sex is magic.
Mm.
um, the universe is sexual. All the mythologies say that Saturn created the world through coitus, just for
Mm.
coitus, just for sexual pleasure. The whole universe was created by Saturn just for coitus. That's it. So why did you make the world, Satan? Saturn? For sex. Because everything's redshift, blue shift, and transverse waves. That's sex.
Mm.
Rock and roll. When you're having sex in the back seat of your car, the car rocks like this, but then it rolls like that as well, like a ship in
Hmm.
motion, right? So you'll see the policeman will come up in the 50s when rock and roll was coined. So you're in the back seat, and they could tell because if the car it just rocked, then it was wind. But when it rocks
Hmm.
and rolls, that's why they call it rock and roll because
I
it's
did not know that.
yeah, right.
Wow.
Because the car has suspension, which will make it rock, but it also has uh, uh, what are the coiled suspension? There's another kind. Oh, freaking hell! Anyway, so that's what makes the car roll. The car has to roll, right? Because
Mm.
when you go around a curve, you'll find your car will do this, right? It has to
Hmm.
roll. And then when you put on the brakes, it rocks. The car goes like that. And when you
Hmm.
accelerate, it rocks back.
Yeah.
So the car has to have both rock, forward and back, and it has to have roll, sway.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's. And by the way, I mean rock and roll has been around forever. Like AC/DC say, rock and roll ain't noise pollution. Rock and roll ain't gonna die. It's always been because that's what music does. It rocks and it rolls.
Mm.
It's like
So,
sex.
so you're saying the purpose of that, like sex, is not just to have babies, procreation. There's other purposes and uses of that sexual energy. Because there's a lot of people that are like, okay, it's only for making babies. Other than that, it's not. I mean, you can do it, but it's not important. What are your thoughts on that?
No, no, no. It's very important that partners who are in love that practice white tantra, which means they are never expending their electrical energy. They're always harvesting it. If you want to stay young, you harvest that energy. You don't spend it. See,
Mm.
when there's money in the bank and you go and take it all out and spend it, it's spent. There's no money in the bank. So when you're having sex, if you ejaculate, you spend. Yes, you get a pat on the back. Gee, that felt great. Okay, that's really good, you know. Uh, mm, but I didn't really need the unwanted pregnancy, so that's going to cost a lot. You
Yeah.
know, uh, ejaculators basically are stupid people in philosophy. Not from me, but in the philosophy. That's why boys were sent to a seminary to become a priest. Seminary. You
Mm.
go to a university to be a doctor, an academy to be a philosopher, but you to go to a seminary
That's
to become
weird.
a priest. Why? Because that is where they taught young boys what to do, the magic of semen. It's life giving. But they
Mm.
taught the boys that you have to ejaculate, because once you spend it, you never get it back. It's like every
Mm.
breath you take, you get closer to your death. You've only got a certain number of breaths. Each one has a certain, from the day you were born, you were given a certain amount of breaths. When you take that last breath, you die. That's why they say breathe slow and silently. You don't want people hearing you. That's toxic.
Mm.
If the person sitting next to you, if you can hear him breathing, run.
Really? That's interesting because when you made that noise, I thought of demonic entities. Because in the movies they always have that like heavy breath going on.
It,
So
when I'm jogging 16 miles a day, I don't. There's none of that. It's silent.
really,
Hmm.
so
Calm.
you're running 16 miles a day?
No, but
Okay.
I've got an injury. I've injured my toes. I think I've got a hairline fracture. It's been like that for over a year now. But I used to. I say 16 miles because it's like the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
But there's a road down there. And I from where I live, and I used to go jogging up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I call that 16 miles. It
Mm.
doesn't matter because whether you do a mile or 16 miles, you don't have to do 16 miles and you don't have to stretch yourself unless it's for a
Mm.
purpose. But if you do a mile a day, you test yourself and you see after that mile, how's your breath? It shouldn't be more than this. And you shouldn't be making any noise like if you're
So
doing
does that
those,
come with practice?
huh?
Does that come with practice or endurance? You feel, or both?
That comes with not being toxic. Go to my channel, Mr. Astrotheology, and go to a video called Pyramids in My Backyard, where I go down there, I climb the pyramid, and I run all the way back up the hill, and the cameraman's following me, and I'm telling him all barefoot over the stones and everything, running it's probably a 45-minute video, and you see at the end of me doing all that walk on the dirt and on the stones and everything, my breath at the end is silent because I'm not toxic.
Wow.
So I can climb the mountains and just climb and climb and climb. I know where the energy comes in. You squeeze your perineum and your tongue goes up the palate.
What's your perineum?
That's what you squeeze so that you don't pass wind.
Is that in your throat?
No,
Oh,
when
yeah, like the
flatulence.
fart?
Mm.
Oh, okay.
So squeeze that, squeeze it, right?
While you're
Everyone,
running?
well, just now. I mean, the listeners, the more you squeeze that, the more you're pumping up the chrism to your cerebrum, to your claustrum, and becoming holy and
Mm.
rejuvenating yourself. So you got to squeeze that perineum. You see, here is the fontanelle. Blue shift energy is coming in, goes down your spine, and it goes out your perineum. It's the
Mm.
same place. It's between, for the woman, it's between the vagina and the anus, the little muscle in there, just that little thing there. It's about that long. And for the guys, the testes and the anus, it's just right there, right? That muscular bridge there, that is the magic point. Now, if the semen, which is um, the Holy Spirit, if you spend it, you will age. The day you eat from the tree of life, you'll positively die. Because the tree of life is your nervous system. What you're doing is you're depleting your nervous system every time you ejaculate.
Mm.
So I've been teaching and practicing since 2012 uh, ejaculation.
So is it the same for women? Because from my understanding, it's different. There's a different nuance from men versus women in that context. What is your thoughts on that? Or is it
For
exactly the
the
same?
woman's same and different, right?
I think it paused.
Go to seminaries, women don't. Because their ejaculation is not as harmful to their body as a man's because it's not life giving, but it's still life receiving. And the more a woman ejaculates, the older she gets. Have you ever seen a prostitute that looks really nice without makeup at 35 going up to 60?
Mm.
Uh-uh.
But I wonder if that has to do with taking on that energy from men,
As well.
because there's like a combination of things going on when it comes to prostitutes, and that's a thought I've had before too, because um, that's something that a lot of people don't really talk too much about,
Yeah.
because it's become like a hot button topic of like men versus women. Women should be able to do the same things men do, whatever. But that kind of like hookup culture, I feel like it's harmful for both. Is that, or am I? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Men and women have to work together to become one. Once they're centered in the oneness, all creation potential is possible. There's uh, there, there's no use arguing. There's no use lesbians and gays and everything and fighting and all sorts of squabbling about sex. A man has to activate a woman, can only activate a woman, his woman, and the woman
Mhm.
can only activate him. And this is why you learn in the seminaries that if you do an ejaculation when you're a little boy, you fecundate yourself. You impregnate yourself and you become mature, you become a man. The moment you go giving it to women and having babies that you don't want and giving them their DNA and just shedding, throwing your seed all over the world,
Mm.
like these rock stars and being sued by these children that turn up. I'm your
Mhm.
son, Mick Jagger, you owe me millions, right? So,
Yeah.
so when you learn, when you go to seminary and you learn how to use sexual energy to have an ejaculation, you fertilize yourself.
Mm. I saw you do an interview and there was a guy asking you about the LGBT, and I think he kept asking you over and over again. And you mentioned like Unix and just the fact that it's existed since ancient times. So, what are your thoughts on that? And maybe if there's a spiritual purpose or whatever the case may be, what are your thoughts?
On what? Gayness and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's part of the deal of this world. This world has many features that are contradictory and paradoxical. Um, Men should love men, and women should love women. You see, it doesn't need to be sexual. You see how men call their male friends my best mate, mates. What's a mate? You can't. Well, then, mate is sexual. You mate and you have a child. So you're talking about if you're heterosexual and you're talking about all your mates. This is my best mate Rob. This is Bob, my best mate. John is my mate.
Yeah.
Are you having sex with them or what? No, you love them. So men should love men and women should love women. Why does it have to get sexual? Keep sex to yourself or your
Yeah.
partner. But remember, a woman can't activate a woman. They can have fun together. A man can't activate a man. They can have fun together. But this is about getting back. And if you want to play around in the gay world, right, which is natural in this t- timeline, um, then no one's getting activated because you can't. You won't be procreating
Hmm.
either side. Gay people then their generation stops. So in a way, they're selfish because they're not.
People say, and this is the thing. So, people say that, but like you said before, there's several purposes for sex. You can have procreative sex, you can have non-procreative sex. And I wonder what, because I laugh because I watch so many people who consider themselves straight and they'll talk about LGBT, not procreating, yet they do so many different things to have indiscriminate sex without procreating. So as far as like this activation you're talking about, what exactly is that?
Well, the male is required for the woman to be activated for her path to ascend back to oneness. Can only happen with a male, can't happen with a woman. She's with a woman, that's fine. That's no one's going to judge you, but you won't be activated. You need activation. Now, if you're single and you're celibate and you want to be celibate, that's going to be a problem. It's there are those who take the celibate path, the samadhis, the sannyasus, and etc. But it's it's another way of making magic, I guess. But see, having children is not necessarily a good thing. It's not.
Mm.
We should stop doing that because we're dividing God's conscience conscious. We're dividing the consciousness into more fracture every time we have a child. Should we stop doing that nonsense?
Completely
Yeah,
or for a time, for a certain
yeah,
amount of years?
of course.
Well, see, when I study history, because there's all these paradoxical things, like you said, and not even just history, nature. In times where there's overpopulation or there's a time period where they want people to not procreate as much in a natural way, then there's more gays. Like even animals, there's some gay actors out because, like you say, that act is a non-procreative form of sex. Man and woman, that's procreative. It's supposed to, by design, create children, right?
Right, right. So there's arguments good and bad for both sides, right? So the gay guys are not procreating, which is good because their creativity stops with themselves, and you stop fracturing the one mind of God by
Mm.
having children. So one,
And then this is the other thing too. If the gay man wants to have a child, he can meet with a woman. And that's the thing where me is like it's not either or. By you could choose. Okay, I'm gonna have procreative sex now. I'm gonna have a child, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna focus on my career, music, whatever the case may be, and just create that way.
and yet what they miss is that that gay guy needs a woman to activate him. He came from a woman, from a
So when you
line.
say activate, are you saying create a child or what specifically? And that's what I'm
Through
wanting to
sex,
know.
without ejaculating, the man's penis and the woman's vagina
Mm-hmm.
activates and stimulates the kundalini to go up, to climb up. The male Taurus field is the positive and the woman's is the negative, which means the woman has all the potential. She receives from the man. A man and a man having sex is not ever, ever going to come into a oneness. They will be divided and polarized. No judgment. Does that mean they're not going to ascend? I don't know. They. I'm just going.
So based on what you're saying, so Kundalini energy is not activated outside of sex.
Oh yeah, it is by squeezing your perineum and other things. Tongue up against the high up the palate.
Mm.
When you short the circuit between the bottom of your head to the top by putting your tongue up, like all
Mhm.
babies do from birth, hmm, and you squeeze your perineum, limitless power. You can climb mountains. You can have sex all.
So so that activates your Kundalini.
Yeah, if you don't want to have sex, it's try now going up and down the palate and going back as far as you can, as though your tongue were a penis and the back of your mouth were a vagina. Try and
I don't even understand.
your tongue
Mm-hmm.
go right back, suck it back up and up into that hole. Huh? Uh, that's where you choke, where you dry reach. Well, that tongue is a spiritual sexual organ. That's why kissing is tongue kissing and whatever is a thing. It's not boring, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because your Taurus fields are connecting through the tongue.
Yeah.
The tongue is very sensitive. It is like a penis. So if you want to have sex when you're just walking down the road, mm, mm,
Mm-hmm.
why? Because saliva is every time you put your tongue up there, the saliva glands are stimulated. Saliva is salvation, salt. Mm. So I say to people, get the tongue up there like it was a penis in a vagina. Have sex, spiritual sex. Have spiritual
Mm-hmm.
sex. You'll have spiritual orgasms in your head because you're tickling the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is a penis. So right now, my tongue is touching my pineal gland.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, with that, not to beat a dead horse, I think that's where the LGBT has their ascension. But I guess we could agree to disagree. But I think, I don't know if you paused or whatever, but I think there's definitely a space for LGBT ascension through
I,
their
I,
own
I
activity.
think I think so. Yes, I think there is, and
And I think also like with LGBT, because it's a huge topic right now, and I feel like there's a huge lack of knowledge historically because they make it seem like we just existed since the last maybe 100 years. But like you were saying on the other video, there's been eunuchs in different purposes and positions for people that are like in that in between, because simply being in that in between, you're vibrating on a different frequency with masculine and feminine energy. And I definitely feel like the cabal has like taken that knowledge and confused a lot of people in the LGBT to put energy into different things, even with like the in the what 80s with the AIDS epidemic and different things like that, where it's like over sexualized, where a lot of people aren't even accomplishing their purpose with the gifts that they have from being different, if that makes sense. I think you paused. Okay, you're back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Say the question quickly again.
So basically, I feel like the cabal, because in some cases, in some instances, people make it seem like the LGBT is the cabal or something, like the elite are just a group of gay men or something like that. But I think that the cabal has attacked the LGBT as well and shifted the energy and distracted this odd group, because we're only about 4% of the whole population, so it's not huge. So, what do you think about that and the fact that there's a long history of this group?
Yeah, it goes back to antiquity. Of course, there's a natural side to it, and there's a gender-driven side to it, right? So, some gays have been turned gay through estrogen and microplastics and stuff like that, and frequencies and programming, etc. Right? Education. There's a lot of ways to make someone gay. That's fine if that happens. The thing is, the gay guys need to know, and the gay women, is that they all came from a woman, a womb. Everyone. Everyone did, right?
Mm,
And your father's seed, you see? So to create on the physical realm, which is to procreate, really, in many philosophies, is blasphemy. We should stop doing that. We're just dividing God's consciousness more and more. Oh, look at my grandchildren. Oh, they got children. Oh, more grandchildren, more division. It's just more and more division.
mm,
You don't want a tangible baby. Oh, I want to have babies. Ooh, I just, and then they'll make me famous, and because they'll have talents, I'll send them to school,
mm.
boxing, and then they'll make a lot of money for me. My boy's gonna be good footballer. You know, you're not creating things that are not tangible. That's what we're here for. And we need to use sex to create the non tangible things that are of a spiritual world to transform this world from,
Mm.
from the entanglement of the flesh. Because if you're having sex just for pleasure and ejaculating, you will stay entangled in that. You'll be doing
Mm.
it over and over and over again. It'll all be sex forever, and you'll be stuck
So
in
when
that.
when you say use it, are you saying use that energy, for example, like transmuting the energy of, for example, say you want to impress someone at work, or like, for example, a lot of people's motivation for playing guitar is to, impress some girls so they get really good at it. Is that like a form of transmuting, or do you feel like somebody has to physically have sex and then take that energy and, or like what you said, activate the Kundalini through different techniques to create in the world?
Yeah. So the gay guys
Or a
and
combination of all of it.
the gay guys and the lesbian women would do well to find themselves someone whom they love of the opposite sex to be activated. That's all they've got to do. Just take a break and get activated. Because the blue and the red, blue is masculine, pink is girl, right? Red, blue shift, red shift. So once it comes together, in the heart, it's green, Right now, where activation can happen in gayness is if one takes the male role and the other one takes the feminine role. Whether you're a lesbian set
Mm.
or a um, gay masculine set, yeah, there's always the one that's like more gay. That's
I think a lot of times that naturally happen. Like, and that's the thing also with some people are naturally more even masculine and feminine. Because, for example, I like my astrology is exactly half feminine side or half feminine signs and half masculine signs. So, what I've read and studied, for example, with they call them gatekeepers in ancient African, like indigenous practices. Basically, they're people who are in the middle of masculine and feminine energy, and they teach the men and the women how to balance and understand their counterparts. Basically, same thing with like Two Spirit people in American Indian culture. And I read this thick book called Crossovers, and it talks about like how a lot of the priests historically and high-ranking religious people have been considered gay. And I've always wondered, and a lot of people have talked about that, and I've wondered about that, even like eunuchs and different things like that. I've wondered what that's about.
yeah. It's look, there is that, and then everything that I'm saying about sex in the sannyasa's mind is blasphemy. Everything that I've said is blasphemy because you're still having sex.
Mm.
The celibates who are ascending
Mm-hmm.
through subtler energy, which we busy-minded, noisy-minded, uh, physical, sensual, sexual people are still indulging in. It's all blasphemy. It's still all blasphemy
So
to
you're
me.
saying syllabus are blasphemy too, or
Well,
that
no,
you're saying?
no, no. It's just that the sannyas will say what you're talking about, having a man activating a woman and everything, and having penetration sex is too sensual.
It's blasphemy.
Yeah, yeah, and it's blasphemy. So everything that I said about tantric sex for them is blasphemy because you just have to abstain anyway. But this is a whole different. This is a priest class. This is not you and I. This is a different class of individual, and um, it's just these people are unique. That's why unicorn and what's it called when you the guys who have castrated uh,
Eunuchs.
eunuchs, right? Unicorn, unique, and eunuchs. Huh. Kind of the same word, isn't it?
Because there's, and this is the thing too. They make such a huge big deal about it, but when I looked it up in the United States, it's only 4% of the population. So that
Yeah.
is a unicorn. There's more redheads than all the letters in the LGBT. But yet it's this huge big deal. I don't understand that. It's crazy.
Yeah, look, the way the elites do it is that they give their children hormones so that the women, instead of having a vagina at birth, they have the hormone stimulated, which will um, make them have a penis. So, the male presidents, pretty much all of them, they are women.
What?
Yeah, Barack
So wait,
Obama.
you're saying all like
Right.
Obama, Trump?
Yeah, so Michael Obama is Big Dick Mike, right?
You said who?
Michael Obama is Big Dick Mike.
That's Vice. She's a, I mean, she's the first. She was the first lady. You said the president's.
Yeah, Obama's wife, Michelle Michael, is Big Mike, Big Dick Mike. You know that?
I've heard that, but what about Obama? Because you said the president's.
He also has, he was in the womb, he was a girl. So he was given hormones because he's of this royal bloodline. He was given hormones to, instead of having a vagina, to have penis.
You think Trump's the same thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're all trannies.
So
All
why see this is my thing. So I'm trying to take a lot of the information that I've gotten from different places, right? And when I study like the elites and stuff like that, people say they're doing certain things. And I just wonder if they are consciously making people trans, for example, a woman transition into a man to put them in the place of a president. Why?
power and control. So the vampires can have their little children and trafficking and harvesting their energy. It's life.
But I'm saying like why are they transitioning? Why can't they just take a man and make them the president? What is the purpose of transitioning them to put them in that place? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because when you understand politics, you want a woman to be the boss.
That's what I was thinking.
You don't want men. They're all women. All those men in the Senate, they're all women. And because but these are traumatized women. What we really want is wise, wise goddess women.
So
Not
okay, I
not
start.
those stupid ones in Congress. But they still are women.
So in this book crossovers, it talks about this about starting off with like the matriarchal societies and how it transitioned to more patriarchal societies and different things like that, and how even the priesthood, for example, how like in Catholic churches they have like a booth where you go in and do a confessional. They said before those were similar to the like the psychic booths that goddesses and women would tell people's future, but they basically everything that the women in their religions they were doing, they got men to copy it, and they started because of the male treatment or the bad treatment that the women were getting in this transition period. And this from this book, the Great Council started allowing women to come through in male bodies, and the religious people started to identify that, and they started seeking these, and they would come out feminine and what we would consider gay, and they realized that they would have this special like spiritual gifts or whatever that women have, but they're in a male body. So then they started to manufacture that themselves and or try to find those in between people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's important. It's important for them to keep the theatre up,
Mm,
and the real men are out fighting their wars. But the hierarchy is actually women. It's all goes back to Switzerland, and Switzerland means Schwesterland, the land of the sisters, or Isis. And
mm,
yeah, it's a coven of witches that are women that run the world.
wow.
Yeah, and the men, their wives, who are effeminate, they're just there to help them and everything like that. But the men with all the hormones are really women. So yeah,
That I mean, and I think because my first question, what I was asking is like, why did they do that? But I
but this
guess it makes sense because they don't want to the public to know that it is women. If that is the case, whatever, they don't want it to actually know that these are women because that would mess up the whole hierarchy. Because I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but everyday men, it seems that like for example in the single family household they're put at the head of the household, but largely to control the women and the children. So there's no like uncontrolled female leadership, if that makes sense. Or am I just off base?
Yeah, well, they're a coven of witches and vampires. So what you're looking at is the satanic cabal. Okay,
Mm.
so so this only happens with politicians that belong to those families. Not all politicians do this. That not all politicians come under this. They're a totally different class, and they keep it like that. You see, they keep good people working in politics that have got nothing to do with this transgender thing and that are trannies. Nothing at all. And they don't even know about them. They're compartmentalized. It's two different worlds.
Mm.
It's two totally different worlds. The Senate and Congress, you'll see the wolves among the sheep. There's good people there, and there's the satanic cabal. And they're running both different programs. They have to, because they've got to keep each other in check. Because one day justice will come. This is why the Epstein files are coming out.
Mm.
To heck with it. Let's let everybody know that we eat children and that we do snuff movies and everything like that, and we are the elites. What are the
Mm.
slaves going to do about it? Right? So it's their own Armageddon because they created it and entangled themselves in that. Right? And on the other hand, they are going there for the great. Have you heard there? But for the grace of God go I.
Mm.
Yeah. Just be happy that Bill Gates and Larry Fink and Blake Rock and Vanguard and the Vatican and the Holy See and the Roman Curia and the Jesuits are all doing all this killing and shit like that because that frequency will take them to where they're going. They are taking that sin on their shoulders to save us.
So, and you said what you want is a woman that has wise goddess energy to lead. Why exactly is that?
Well, what will happen eventually is that the matriarchy of the true women, like they do in Aboriginal Australia, will be the order of the day.
Mm.
Men shouldn't take part or in control. Men will control society. Women will enable society. Women are the enablers of all of government, and that's why they're in politics.
Mm.
Even the satanic cabal have put their women in as men, but they're women because they know that men are too freaking. They're not wired to do politics.
Mm. That I mean, I've never heard it put that way, and I feel like maybe people have said that, but they haven't been able to articulate it. And there's a lot of people that would be like, "Well, matriarchal societies all failed, and they must be doing something right because we're in a patriarchal world, or whatever the case may be." So, what are
Yeah,
your thoughts on that?
but see the inversion. They're not patriarchs. They're matriarchs. The
This is crazy because I was thinking that.
they've continued. Look, why does the Pope wear a dress? Why do the Jesuits wear dresses? Why do they all
I
wear
said
these
that.
fairy dresses? Oh,
Oh
the
my
Pope's
God.
got a dress. He's got a skirt because he's telling you he's a woman.
They have better dresses than the nuns. I pointed that out before, and people were like, "Oh, you're crazy." They have
Yeah.
more elaborate dresses than the nuns do.
Yeah. The nuns look goofy and the big clunky clock shoes and
Oh my
the thick
gosh.
eyes and they're like. Whereas, I mean, the Jesuits and the popes, they're all ugly as well. I mean, have you ever seen?
Yeah, but at least they have accessories. They got robes. They have. I mean, they're decked out. I mean, they're clean.
Yeah, the nuns are plain, but these guys are extravagant, right? Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's crazy that you said that because even with the the forming of the United States government is largely based on indigenous American matriarchal societies.
Hot diggity, yep. And it was run in Manhattan.
Mm. So it was already running. I heard like the Powhatan and different things like that. That's more of Virginia, but
New York. York was a black man.
New York.
Yeah, York was a black man. And the
York,
Manhattan.
the name?
Yeah, York. His name, Mr. York, was a black man. The
And
N
that's
word. You know the
that is what New York was named after. Him.
Mr. York, yeah. That was his name, York. Black
Wow.
man. And Manhattan is about, they took that off the black people. That was black people.
Mm. So, from my understanding, it seemed like the tribes started to get discombobulated when they started moving from the matriarchy to try to create a form of patriarchy.
They never moved. See, this is what you have to try to stop saying. They haven't
Mm,
moved it. It's always has been, and will be, and it always is, and you can't change it. It's a matriarchy. It's a
mm.
matrix. Simple. The people who say, "Oh, it's a patrix," it's patriarch. They got no idea. Men don't rule the world. They fight for the women.
This
They're
is
going.
wild. Because I've been close to what you're saying, but I just kind of feel like I've been afraid to fully like allow myself to think like that.
Haven't you heard that Julius Caesar was gay? Alexander the Great was gay, and
I've
had
heard
a
that.
male lover. Marcus Antonius, and all the Antonine Caesars, and
Hmm.
then Caligula and Claudius, and they were all gay. Why? Because they were women.
So, are you saying they're trans? You think they're trans?
They weren't really gay. They were women. That's why they're not gay. they they were given
They
hormones.
are just flat out women.
Yeah, they got with dicks.
Okay, see now that's what confusing. So they had this technology back then to transition.
Tech, tech, Technology's always been there.
What in the world?
It's never not existed. Like you have never not existed
Wow.
and will not die.
So so I feel like what you're saying, because in the book it talks about like it is a pastor who was channeling an angel that was giving him all this information, and it's pretty much exactly what you're saying. But it's not like it's basically they're just saying a gay man.
It's a bit kinky, bit weird, but
I think that's
yeah, this this shouldn't be. What we should have is the woman that has all the archetypes: goddess, angel, mother, giver, sister, daughter, the full complete set of attributes that a woman must have. Those are the ones we should follow. Those are the
mhm.
ones who should be selected to be the aristocracy. Aristos in Greek means the best. They will sort out real good how to get um, homeopaths out into the world, how to get everyone wealthy. The men will carry the freaking loads on their shoulders to get the food and to get the help. That the women, the good women, very soon you'll see all this. You'll understand what I'm saying. It's just gonna be open that it was always
That
matriarchy.
makes, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. I've
It's
been very close to that.
Yeah, it's
So
never not been.
this is probably one of my last questions because there's been a lot of like gender wars people have been talking about, and it seems like men are maybe pushing back against women, women pushing back against men, and like for example, the single family household on the surface level you think that the man is the head of the household, the woman follows his orders, blankety blankety blank. But from my experience, it seems like oftentimes a woman is still the head of the household, but just in action, but not in title. And since there's no laws anymore against the woman, because before, like my grandmother, she couldn't even open a bank account. So there was literal laws that were restricting women from just flat out being the head. But now women are the head now in action, but still not entitled. So what do you think about that with the single family household?
With a single family household,
Yeah, single family home, one house, man, woman, kids.
if it has to be, well, what is it is what it is. But If there's a man and a woman, the woman will always be steering the ship. Whether she's a bitch or she's a goddess and has all the archetypal things about her, she'll make sure the ship, the home, is in order. And the woman should really, you know that saying, woman should be in the kitchen or whatever in the home. It it shouldn't be taken in the gross way. It should be that the woman, if she keeps the house clean and orderly and her energy permeates the home, the man harvests that energy, it energizes the man. And the man will be the manifester for the woman who makes the man from her womb.
Mm.
All the men were made by women. They all gestated in a womb of a woman. Womb man, but it's still a man. Female, she's still male. Female. Adam, if you put an M in front of it, you've got madam. Adam was a madam.
Adam was a madam?
Yeah, of course.
What?
You will, if you read the Quran, if you read the Kabbalah, if you read the scriptures properly, you'll know that Adam was a hermaphrodite. And then when they came into this world and they ate the apple is the Taurus field, the torso, they saw that they were naked. So they covered their genitals with fig leaves. And they were embarrassed. Why? Because in the physical world, now you are two, one's got a dick, one's got a vagina, and it's, oh, we didn't have that before. Because Adam was a madam. Adam was Adam is an anagram for monad. Adam was one. Then when even came along, the whole world went to shit, didn't it? Oh, she ate the apple and fucked up everything. Now we're all suffering because of Eve. Well, that's the number two, even, the
Mm.
demiurge. The number one, Adam, the monad, there's only unity there. And that's where we're going. And that's to the madam. Always
So
remember.
we're going back to hermaphrodites?
Yeah, invert the word Adam, and you'll work out what it's all about. Adam
I've heard
is the nothing.
that for a good amount of time on Earth, it was just hermaphrodites or women who I forgot what that word is. Um, Basically, they can create like certain plants can create life just within themselves. You know what that word is? I forgot.
Yeah, yeah,
Carcinogenesis.
yeah.
Do you think that's a real thing, or somebody made that up?
Of course it is.
Mm,
Of course it is. See, whether you don't have a partner or you do, you will still be sexual because that's the energy that makes the world go round. Not money, it's sex. So what we should be doing is harvesting that energy, not spending it. Because when you spend it and spend it and spend it and ejaculate and ejaculate and ejaculate, you won't have anything left for the other side. You'll be brain dead.
mm.
Because as you have been allocated a certain amount of breaths, you have also been allocated a certain amount of christic chrism, which comes from your claustrum. When you ejaculate that all out, you get old and dry and you die.
Yikes.
That's why people
Okay.
die. That's why people die, because they
Mm.
ejaculate. You should never eat from the tree of life.
So that's what that means.
That's what it means. Yeah. The
Mm.
nervous system is the tree of life, and the other tree is your cardiovascular circulatory system. In
Mm.
the Garden of Eden, there's two trees. So the Christ tree is your nervous system, and the Jesus tree of life is your blood. Jesus is in the blood, the passion of the Christ. But the nervous system is the Christ.
Mm.
If you could see your nervous system and all the meridians and everything, the 12 meridian systems in your body, 12, it's always 12, not 13. Um, if you could see those glowing, you would see it's just a circuit board, an electromagnetic circuit board, and
Mm.
made of atoms. That's why it's called an anatomy. You're looking at one. It's
Wow.
a bunch of atoms, which are just torus fields.
So you're saying when Eve came along, that was the fall because then you went from a state of parthenogenesis or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it, to a state of being split, and now you have to come together to create that energy without having it within yourself.
Yeah, now we have to go back and just go back to Adam the Madam. So when you started your journey in your mother's womb, you were one egg. The sperm and the ovary, um, ovum. No, not the ovum. The what's the woman's thing part? So you got the sperm and the woman's.
Fetus?
No, the ovary. What's her egg called? The woman's egg. She's ovulating. Woman's ovulating, and she
Mm.
produces what? Anyway,
I just always thought it was an egg.
okay. Well, anyway, the man's egg and the woman's sperm and the woman's egg, they come together and they make one sphere in the womb. Then mitosis happens. That one sphere, the monad, splits, and there begins your journey of all the pain and anguish and beautiful, exquisite experiences that you will ever have. When you go back to the womb to the one, when you were one in your meditations, there's no more noise. There's no more division. There's no more desires, needs, wants. You're in bliss. But that's what you are anyway. You'll work it out. You're not you're not a girl and you're not a man. You're just one.
Mm.
Um,
So
but,
when were you gonna say?
and yet you are a woman and a man, and you always have been, and you always will be. But no, we need another show to really
I know. We gotta.
qualify everything I'm saying because I'm
Yeah.
leaving so many loose ends.
This is really, I mean, a lot of what we talked about, I have not heard in this exact way with this nuance before. So I think this is, I
Well,
mean,
anyone can just go to my channel, Mr. Astrotheology, and punch in the words in the search bar of my channel. Raising the chrism, Christ consciousness, tantric sex, and I teach it.
awesome.
It's funny.
Cool.
Um, Here in Mexico, when I was living on the Caribbean, one woman, um, I was in Puerto Morelos. She was from Playa del Carmen. Poor girl. She said, "Will you teach me white tantra?" And I said, "Look, I don't teach it like that."
She wanted you to demonstrate.
She wanted she wanted to
Wow.
get with me, and I said, "That's not how I teach it, sweetheart. You go to my channel, learn about it, because
Wow.
if I'm going to mess with you and you mess with me, you'll never work it out unless you work it out first by loving yourself.
Mm,
Think about it. When a man has an ejaculation, he's just looking after himself, really,
mm,
because he falls asleep after that. Doesn't care what the woman's thinking and whether
mm.
she needs some loving attention. He's, I had my bit. Oh, that was good. Right?
Yeah.
And the woman's like, oh, God, 3 seconds? I didn't even get warmed up. I was in first gear.
Dang.
And they get stuck in first gear by these men who ejaculate because they've never fertilized themselves first. First,
Mm,
to be a man, you must fertilize yourself by injaculating. And then you'll be a man.
mm. So, okay. I keep wanting to go on and on, but I have so many questions. I guess this will be the last question because it does seem like there's a disconnect between the men and the women, and I feel like the world is probably already there. It's been there, like we talked about, but I feel like there's maybe a pushback because there's, even though women have been the lead in a lot of situations, there's been a perception that the man is in the lead and they're doing all this work and they're the big guy. And it's starting to drift away. And I feel like a lot of men are starting to get lost and confused as to what does manhood look like? What am I even supposed to be doing? Like, what is my position in the world now?
Well, the man is, they say he's the provider, right? Okay, so
Mhm.
yeah, he should be active out there in the world, and the woman should be organizing the life and keeping it tidy and holy for the man. But you know how the women, they take their rings off when they go to the bars, right? The married women who like to cheat, and the married men, yeah,
Hmm.
all the same. So they take that ring off because why? The ring indicates that you wear that to show that you are in a holy bond with someone that you love.
Hmm.
You are one. You take that ring off, you're open to anyone. And then their pollutions as well. So if you take one partner on, you're taking a lot on. A whole different universe is merging with your universe,
Hmm.
and you're creating. If you create a human being with your sexual energy, that no good. See, this is contrary to the world. In the Bible, it says, multiply and fill the earth. That's over. Now it's stop multiplying and fill yourself.
Hmm.
Create other things without creating more humans. We don't need more humans.
So
They,
what are those other things like music, buildings? What are those things?
a perfect society, a perfect world, bliss, nirvana, rest, enjoyments, wealth, abundance, happiness, health. Because unless you got that, you've got nothing. Rich man dies of a heart attack. He's got millions of dollars in his bank account. 35 years old, heart attack.
True.
It's not always the rich man. It's not always the fast. In the Bible, in Ecclesiastic, it says it's not always the fastest who wins the race. It's not always the smartest who wins the argument. It's,
Mm.
yeah, so um, sexual love should be first. This is why what happens when you're young, right? You start masturbating. Where does that come from?
I don't know.
Well, for some, it happens when they're 12. Some, for me, I think it happened when I was 14, 15, I think. I was a late bloomer because all my friends were like, huh? You just started, you're 15. I was doing it when I was 6, playing with
Geez.
playing with my little thing. I was like, had other things to do, right? The sexuality came when I think I was 13 or 14. Anyway, that's that's because you're supposed to love yourself first,
Mm.
and then you find a partner, and then you can show them what love is because you love yourself. Masturbation, though, has to have no ejaculation uh, component to it at all. The moment you ejaculate, you spend that force. It's gone forever.
Mm. Wow. So this has been amazing. So, do you have any finishing thoughts, events, or anything you want to direct people to?
I've got a retreat. We're going to Chichen Itza. It's on my Instagram for the equinox. We're going to see Quetzalcoatl climb down this 91 steps of the Chichen Itza pyramid on the equinox coming up next
Awesome.
month. Yeah, so
When is
that,
it?
huh?
When is the event?
On the equinox.
Is that what month? Is it this month?
Well, the equinox is March 21st
March
since
21st.
since forever.
Oh, I might be able to make that.
It's never going to change. March the 21st, you see the serpent only on March 21st going down that. That's why everybody goes there. Look it up. Chichen Itza, equinox. You see all the people from around the world go. We're going to be there this year.
Wow.
I've been dreaming about it since I was a little boy.
Really? This
Yeah, so
particular year?
yeah, but I'm not organising it, so all your viewers don't contact me, you contact Isaac. You'll see the videos on my Instagram. Isaac, he's the guy to talk to. I'm not going to organise anything. I'm just going to be there. I'm
Yeah.
going to bring my guitars and
All
my
right.
songs.
Cool. I might be able to make it to that because I'm in Texas. I'm not too far.
Yeah.
So awesome. So thank you. This has been an awesome conversation, and we will definitely keep in touch.
All right, and you've got some Leo in you. Let me see if I can. You've got some Leo rising, maybe.
I'm Aries.
Okay.
I
A-
have
April or March?
April, top of April.
I'm a March Aries, so yeah, you're. So
See, that's why we're connecting like this.
Yeah, but what's your rising? You got some Leo there.
I I have Scorpio rising. I know I'm Cancer something or other. I don't know.
Okay.
But
Well, you're going to have something very strong with Leo,
mm,
but Scorpio, I can see that for sure. I can see
how?
this. Scorpios are dense. Like
Mm,
there's a dense energy about them, right?
mm.
I can see that, and Aries as well do.
What do you mean exactly? 'Cause when I think of dense, I'm like,
It's not bad. It's just it's solid. Scorpio is solid, warlike iron. I can
mm.
see the iron of your Aries side and from your Scorpio rising.
So what are you saying with the Leo?
I don't know, but you might have Jupiter in Leo. If you do your chart, send it to me. I'll do it. You probably got the North Node there. I think there's something in Leo. You probably got a Leo MC.
Mm,
Hang on.
okay.
So you Scorpio rising? Nah, that won't give you a Leo MC. That'll give you
I
yes,
have my whole chart.
yes it will. Yeah, your MC's in Leo, but
What
but
is MC?
the midheaven, the top point, your career, your life path. So all of those angles, the rising sign, the MC, they show in you. So I can see that. I can see the Scorpio for sure. But where I was seeing the Leo is other facial features, which I won't go into, but I can see that you've got something feline going on.
My dad is a Leo, and I look like him, so I don't know if that means anything.
When, how old was he when you were born?
He was, I think, 30.
Yeah, Saturn return. So you've got uh, yeah. So if he's a Leo, your dad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So if he gave birth to you at 29:30 when Saturn returns, that's the Leo that's coming through.
my dad.
Yeah.
So that shows in my signs or my energy.
Yeah, I can see the feline thing. So you've got a big gap here, which I do because I've got a Leo rising between the nose and the top lip.
Mm.
That's a feline. So you have that, and your eyes are way up here, like and your lip. There's more space. Sagittarians have this. The equine has it as well, but especially Leo. So that lip there, that proportion, is the Leo archetype.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, learn something new every day. Awesome. Cool. Well, this has been amazing. I'm gonna be messaging you with the video and everything. Once I edit it. I'll give you the straight Zoom video, but I'm gonna edit it too for my socials. But cool. Thank you so much.
All right, sister. Much love. See you on
All
the
right.
next one.
I'll see you later. All right. Bye.